Welcome to The Explainer. I am your tower director, and today we are running a full-scale air traffic control exam emergency simulation. We're tackling one of the most high-stakes challenges in the entire Cambridge AS and A-level accounting syllabus, marginal costing for decision-making. Picture this. You're sitting in the exam hall. You turn the page, and there it is, a massive 20-mark make or buy or special order question. It is an incoming heavy aircraft, and it's coming in fast. Your heart rate spikes, the clock is ticking. How do you land this thing without crashing your grade? Well, that's exactly what we are going to figure out today. We are going to break down exactly how to manage extreme time pressure and prioritize those high-yield marks. Now, in our control tower today, I want you to imagine two very different radar operators. We've got router Alex and we've got router Sam. Now, Alex is incredibly smart, but Alex gets completely bogged down in minor details. Alex will spend 15 minutes calculating a tiny 3-mark variance, effectively putting the entire exam into an infinite holding pattern. Then we have Sam. Sam is fast. Too fast. Sam just clears arguments for landing immediately, writing out massive conclusions without actually verifying any of the structural safety regulations or doing the underlying math. Both of these approaches lead to disaster. Today, we are going to train you to be the elite operator who knows exactly when to calculate, when to evaluate, and how to bring those marks home safely.
Just to put into perspective how critical this simulation is, listen to this direct insight from a senior examiner. They state that mastering this topic is essential because it appears in every single examination series. Every single one. This isn't some rare, once-in-a-decade comet that might pass by your exam paper. This is a scheduled daily flight. You absolutely cannot afford to skip this topic or just hope for the best. Marginal costing for make or buy and special orders is the ultimate test of your analytical skill, and it carries a massive payload of marks. We need to make sure you have a rock-solid, foolproof flight plan.
Here is the radar grid we are working with today. 1. Core principles and terminology. 2. The technical methodology framework. 3. Critical analysis and evaluation. And 4. Top examiner warnings. Let's move right into Section 1, Core Principles and Terminology. This is where we master the foundations. So what actually is marginal costing for decision-making? If you think it's just about aggressively punching numbers into a calculator until an answer pops out, you need to recalibrate your radar immediately. It is the systematic analysis and evidence-based reasoning used to decide whether to manufacture a product in-house, purchase it from an external supplier, or accept a completely special one-off order. I really want you to focus on 2 words there, systematic and evidence-based. Cambridge examiners are absolutely not looking for a simple yes or no gut feeling to a special order. They are looking for the financial and non-financial evidence that absolutely proves your decision is safe, viable, and profitable. You are acting as a corporate detective. You are building an undeniable case. Think about a bakery getting a massive last-minute order for 1,000 cupcakes at a heavily discounted price. You don't just say yes because more revenue sounds good. You have to systematically check the variable costs. You have to check if you even have the spare oven capacity. That systematic approach is exactly what the examiners are hunting for. To build that rock-solid case, you have to understand the flight vectors. The Cambridge assessment objectives are targeting 3 very distinct cognitive domains. Think of these as the 3 altitude levels you must clear. First, we have knowledge and understanding. This is your baseline altitude. This is knowing what a contribution margin actually is or defining a limiting factor. Second, we have analysis. This is the heavy lifting. This is accurately calculating the variance if we decide to buy externally instead of making it ourselves. And third, the highest altitude, evaluation. This is where you weigh the qualitative factors like supplier reliability or employee morale against those raw analytical numbers. Now let's bring our operators back into the room. Router Alex has incredible knowledge and analysis, but Alex never climbs to evaluation. Alex just hands the examiner a page full of numbers. Router Sam tries to jump straight to evaluation, writing a beautiful essay about supplier quality, but skips the analysis completely, offering 0 mathematical proof. Both fail to maximize their score. If you only give the examiner the math or only give them a story, you will hit a hard ceiling on your grade. You must seamlessly transition through all 3 domains. Moving on to Section 2. The technical methodology framework. Deconstruct, solve, and evaluate. All right, it is time to map out your approach layout. When that massive 20-mark question hits your desk, the panic sets in. The clock is screaming at you. This is exactly where you need a rigid, standardized landing sequence. Here is your foolproof 5-step methodology. Step 1. Identify the given information. Highlight the variable costs, circle the maximum capacity, underline the special order price. Step 2. Break it into logical steps. Do not try to solve the whole thing in your head at once. What do we need first? Contribution per unit, then total contribution. Map it out. Step 3. Solve systematically with clear working, and I mean incredibly clear. Step 4. Check for reasonableness.
This is where so many students crash. If your calculation says the business is going to lose $10 million on a $300 order, your math is wrong. Take a breath, look at the number, and ask yourself, does this actually make logical sense? Step 5. Make justified accommodations. Bring it all together. Do not get bogged down calculating completely irrelevant fixed overheads that aren't changing anyway. Follow these exact 5 steps rigidly to deconstruct the chaotic exam material, extract only the relevant variable costs, execute with beautiful, clear notation, and step back to verify before making your final evidence-backed call. Welcome to Section 3, Critical Analysis and Evaluation. This is how we access those elite top marks. Tower transmission check. Listen up. Before we clear this response for touchdown, we need to ensure your transponder is fully updated. I need you to subscribe to Ace the Exams at the handle @AceTheExams right now and make sure you turn on all notifications. You do not want to miss a single one of these emergency simulations. Okay, back to the radar. Let's talk about evaluating evidence quality. This is where you hit an unexpected structural block mid-paragraph. You've done the math, but now you have to write the evaluation, and your mind goes blank. How do you evaluate? You must identify limitations, highlight assumptions made in the data, consider alternative interpretations, and assess the effect on conclusions. For example, a special order might look incredibly profitable based strictly on the marginal cost, but that entirely assumes you actually have the spare capacity to make it. If you have to pay your workers double-time overtime to fulfill the order, your profit vanishes. When you hit the structural block, I want you to deploy the PEL formatting template to guide your sentence right back onto the glide slope. PEL. Point, evidence, evaluation, link. Make your point clearly, provide the specific data evidence from the scenario, evaluate what that means for the business's long-term viability, and finally, link it directly back to the specific question asked. Do this, and you are flying straight down the middle of the runway. All right, we are initiating an interactive runway workshop right now. I want you to mentally pull up a complex source chart from a past paper. You are evaluating 2 different options, making a component in-house versus buying it from an external supplier. You have a 60-second mental visual timer. How do you structure this? You absolutely cannot just list 5 random facts about option A and then list 5 random facts about option B and hope the examiner connects the dots. The syllabus explicitly demands that you identify both similarities and differences. And to do this, you must use comparative connectives. Words like whereas, conversely, similarly, or on the other hand. These words are the radar signals that tell the examiner, hey, I am evaluating right now. And you must support each comparison with evidence. You can't just throw out a vague statement like, buying externally is riskier. You have to be specific. You have to say, buying externally introduces significant supply chain risk, whereas manufacturing internally allows for complete, uncompromised quality control. That is the level of depth required to clear this section. Moving into our final phase, Section 4, Top Examiner Warnings. Welcome to the minefield. We are back in the interactive runway workshop, and we've got debris on the runway. I want to ask you a direct question. Why do you think students consistently lose marks on make or buy and special order questions year after year? Is it because the underlying math is just impossibly hard, or is it something else? Imagine Router Sam's answer sheet. What is the fatal flaw? The debris on the runway is almost always a total failure of time budgeting. It's the fuel to mark ratio. Students will literally sit there and burn 15 minutes of precious exam time aggressively calculating a minor mathematical variance that is only worth 3 marks. Then they look at the clock, panic, and realize they only have 3 minutes left to write a massive 12-mark evaluative essay. They completely run out of fuel before securing the high-value points. You have to manage your time based on the marks available. Let's analyze this debris further. Here are the top 3 fatal mistakes pulled straight from the principal examiner reports. Mistake number 1, confusing cause and effect. So many candidates think that fixed costs will somehow magically increase just because we accept a special order. Listen to me. Fixed costs, like factory rent, do not change with output unless you explicitly breach your relevant range of capacity. Do not allocate existing fixed costs to a marginal costing decision. Mistake number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation. Are you using a proper recognized marginal cost statement format? If your numbers are just scribbled randomly across the page and the examiner can't read your layout or understand your labels, they simply cannot award you the marks. It's like sending garbled radio static to the control tower. Mistake number 3, providing answers that are not specific to the given context. This one is huge. If the exam paper is specifically about a small family-owned bakery considering a special order for a wedding, your evaluation must apply to a bakery. You can't just write a generic textbook answer about factory machine maintenance. If you don't apply your answer to the specific business in the scenario, you drop massive points. So how do we handle the pressure when the alarms are blaring? Under extreme exam conditions, trying to recall a massive list of qualitative factors is incredibly tough. Your brain just freezes. This is where you need an emergency manual code. Use this memory hack. Create your own mnemonic using the first letters of key terms. For example, for a make or buy decision, you might memorize the acronym CREQ. That stands for cost, reliability, employee morale, quality. Having a simple mnemonic like that in your back pocket is an absolute lifesaver. When the pressure spikes and your mind goes blank, you don't panic. You just write down CREQ on the side of your paper, decode the acronym, and boom, you instantly have 4 distinct paragraphs of evaluation ready to write. All right, all operators, pay close attention. This is the most critical examiner alert of the entire simulation. Students throw away entire grades by not showing their working. This is the ultimate fuel-to-mark budget formula. You must understand the concept of method marks. Let's say you are rushing and you calculate the contribution margin wrong in step 1 of a massive problem. Because of that one tiny mistake, every single subsequent number in your massive page-long calculation is now technically incorrect. If you were doing all the math hiding in your calculator and you just wrote down the final incorrect answer at the bottom of the page, the examiner has no choice. You get a 0, crash landing. But if you clearly laid out your steps, if you labeled your workings, and you applied the completely correct accounting methodology to your flawed initial number, the examiner uses what is called the own figure rule. They will follow your logic, see that you understand the process, and actually award you method marks. You could literally get an 8 out of 10 on a question where the final answer is completely wrong, entirely because you showed your working. Never, ever just do the math in your calculator. Put every single step on the page. All right, Alex and Sam, we are logging a successful full-mark landing sequence today. Let's recap your primary directives. 1. Master the terminology and understand the cognitive domains. 2. Rigorously follow the 5-step technical methodology to keep your time budget in check. 3. Always, always show your working to capture those vital method marks. You have the foundations, you know the minefield, and you have your emergency codes. Now it is time to execute. Before you log off the radar, I need you to subscribe to Ace the Exams at the handle @AceTheExams, enable that notification bell, and leave a comment down below sharing exactly which Cambridge paper gives you the most anxiety. We want to know what to cover next. As you head into your next past paper, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. If marginal costing strictly only looks at variable costs to make these short-term pricing decisions, at what point do completely ignored long-term fixed costs become a dangerous, fatal blind spot for a rapidly growing business? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer. Tower out.